Strap in, because the moment we've all been waiting for just hit. After years of Whoopi Goldberg shutting down opposing voices, brushing off guests like background noise, and treating The View like her personal stage, someone finally pushed back. And let's just say, Whoopi, she never saw it coming.
If you don't have anything to say, you blab. You just go on and 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 on.
And Karoline Leavitt.
Voters do not agree with these despicable women on The View. They are wildly out of touch with the vast majority of Americans, and frankly, they should seek immediate help.
This wasn't just a debate. It was an on-air demolition. Karoline didn't confront Whoopi Goldberg. She dismantled her. She exposed the double standards, cut through the noise, and left the entire table stunned. A moment The View has never seen before, and the fallout. It's seismic. ABC execs are reportedly in meltdown mode. Rumors of major shakeups are swirling. And Whoopi, her grip on that seat might finally be slipping. So, what did Karoline say that left Whoopi humiliated on live TV? You're about to find out. But first, if you're all about raw truth and fearless political showdowns, smash that like button and hit subscribe.
And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you, because without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
Karoline didn't hold back. She called out what she called the most divisive and vile speech she's ever heard from a US president, accusing Joe Biden of declaring war on half the country. And the second she walked onto the View set, the tension was instant. The air got thick. You could feel it. This wasn't going to be business as usual. Karoline came with fire, and Whoopi had no idea what was about to hit her.
Because we believe in putting America first. It's not radical to want to put your country and your own people first. It's not radical to want to have a strong border.
What was supposed to be a respectful dialogue spiraled into an ambush within seconds. Whoopi, wearing that signature smug glare, didn't even try to hide her disdain. Before Karoline could finish her first sentence, Whoopi was already rolling her eyes, signaling loud and clear. This wasn't going to be a fair exchange, but Karoline didn't flinch. She stared straight ahead, ready for war, while the table braced for impact.
Trickling its way through every institution in this country. The public school system, the higher education university system, Hollywood, big tech.
Joy Behar didn't waste a second. She jumped in with one of her trademark spiteful jabs, laced with sarcasm, and aimed straight at Karoline's credibility. It was classic Joy, sharp-tongued, dismissive, and fully on the offensive. But this time, the usual laughter didn't follow. The tension at the table was thick, and Karoline, she just smiled, calm, unshaken, and ready to fire back.
Mainstream media that I fought against in President Trump's White House are indoctrinating my generation of Americans into hating our country, hating one another based on race.
This wasn't a debate, it was a setup, a calculated ambush. The hosts of The View thought they could steamroll Karoline with the usual woke soundbites, drown her out with forced applause and smug grins. They expected her to fold, to fumble, to backpedal. But what happened next? They never saw it coming. Because Karoline didn't just hold her ground, she flipped the script and took control of the entire table.
She's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be clear, though. It's not her first job. It was her first press briefing. She worked in the previous Trump administration.
Karoline didn't flinch. She snapped back, sharply questioning if women today are being reduced to nothing more than their looks. Since when, she asked, did being beautiful mean you couldn't also be brilliant? And let's be clear, Karoline's record speaks louder than any jab from that table. She graduated from St. Anselm College, reported for Ruhr in New Hampshire, launched a congressional campaign at 25, and by 27 made history as the youngest press secretary ever. No cue cards, no stammers, no binders the size of textbooks, just straight up poise, precision, and policy. Now compare that to Whoopi. What has she really done lately, besides roll her eyes and toss lazy jabs? At this point, it doesn't look like critique. It looks a lot more like plain, bitter envy.
She lost by 8 or 9 points, but she still put on a good campaign. Then she was the press secretary for the Trump campaign, going on TV literally every day.
Karoline stood firm, 8 months pregnant, navigating new motherhood, and still walked into that studio like a storm with heels on. Facing a panel clearly more interested in a takedown than a real conversation, she didn't just survive, she owned it. Her presence? Calm. Her voice? Steady. She faced a room thick with condescension and never blinked. No flinching, no scrambling, just unshakable resolve. And then, she dropped the truth bomb viewers have been whispering for years. That The View isn't a discussion table. It's an echo chamber. ABC, she warned, needs a reality check. 5 hosts, 1 opinion, different packaging, same tired narrative. Dissent isn't welcomed. It's strangled. Karoline didn't shout. She didn't spiral. She brought facts, dates, quotes, stats. And when Joy tried to cut her off, Karoline didn't flinch. She steered it right back on track, measured, poised, and focused. And that's when the real shift happened. Suddenly, it wasn't Karoline who seemed out of her depth. It was Joy, visibly rattled, scrambling for talking points, while Karoline calmly dismantled the illusion of balance on that stage.
I would like to talk about Joe Biden and Donald Trump, who you work for.
I am stating facts that your colleagues have stated in the past.
Okay,
now,
I'm sorry, guys. We're going to come back out to the panel. Karoline, thank you very much for your time.
Then came the moment, the kind of line that doesn't just land, it shifts the entire room. Karoline stared the panel down and said, "You sit up here preaching about women's empowerment. But the second a conservative woman finds success, you chalk it up to her looks. That's your definition of empowerment." Boom. Silence. Not a chuckle. Not a clapback. Even Joy Behar, the queen of snark, sat frozen. No wisecrack. No comeback. Just blank disbelief. But Karoline didn't ease off. She pressed harder. She exposed what she called the real face of wokeness. Not equality, but a weapon to silence dissent. And then she turned to Whoopi and dropped the hammer. No one embodies that silencing tactic more than you. No venom. Just cold, surgical precision. Not an insult, an indictment. The audience, gasping, shifting. The smug air in the room evaporated, replaced by a tension you could cut with a knife. Outside the studio, social media detonated. Twitter, TikTok, Instagram on fire. Whoopi exposed. Karoline unleashed. The View owned, all trending, all at once. And inside ABC, full-blown panic mode. The narrative had flipped, and this time, they weren't the ones in control.
Now, do you think this is going to make people doubt whether CNN can stay objective, or is this more the same of, everybody's against me?
Karoline didn't hesitate. Standing tall at the podium, she called out the media. No pandering, no fluff. We won't let misinformation, slide. And yes, we'll call it out, even when it's you. Then came the jab that set the internet on fire. I'm not sure if Biden's in the Oval or upstairs napping. She hit hard. Egg prices are up 65%. The room was shaken. The fallout was immediate. ABC execs in panic mode. Sponsors backing off. And then, Whoopi didn't show up for the next episode. ABC's vague statement couldn't hide the truth. The Queen of the View was on the ropes. The once untouchable show was crumbling. ABC had to choose, fix the show, or double down and face disaster. Is this the end of The View? Was Karoline's takedown the final blow? Let us know what you think in the comments.